Assalamu alaikum everyone. So I'll be going through our discrete structure project where we basically used CPI indexes to analyze data from different cities for the items in different categories. Now, the project objective we had during this was that how to model relationships between different consumer items. We used graph theory and similarity measures to find the relationships and identify patterns in prices of different items. So our data set included a total of, I guess, 22,000 rows of data, and this spanned from March 2023 to May 2025, and we had data of around 17 cities, which included 51 items from six different categories that included food, fuel, utilities, and clothing. Now, this is all about the data set. Now, the methodology we used, we basically handled missing data from the data set we had. We basically took average of the previous month and the next month, and we for a missing month, and we added that value for the missing data, and we basically calculated the vectors, price change vectors. What they basically do is that for 12 months there are 11 different values of that vector. For month 2 minus month 1, we had one value. For month 3 minus month 2, we had another value. So basically we had 11 values for each year, and this was a vector we used in our further process to basically model this data. Nextly, we use similarity indexes. We use the cosine similarity, where we model data in such a way that if the cosine similarity is above a certain threshold, those two items are closely related, and this helps in basically helps the government and different organizations to devise some rules, or you could say devise some laws according to it, because when two items are closely related, it can affect the market as well. And for graph construction, we basically modeled the items as nodes, and we found the relationship between them, and those we labeled as edges. Teammates will further show you the graphs which we modeled and which we got as outputs, which really help us understand the relationship between different items from different cities. Now, the Vasya will explain to you. He will analyze our data and what were the outputs of our data. That's all.
Okay, so I'll be discussing centrality in our context. So basically, we measured three different types of centralities: uh, degree, closeness, and betweenness. Degree basically tells us how much a node is connected to other nodes, overall total other nodes. Closeness is basically uh, how much a node is influencing other nodes the quickest. And a betweenness centrality measures how a node connects different parts of the economy together. So we can see in the year 2023, basically food and shirting dominated, and inflation and other parts of the economy were connected through these were the dominant centralities in the year 2023, and this year they were the same. And for betweenness, we have basic cooking products, and because these are essential goods, they connected different parts of the economy together. We see similar trends in 2024. However, it is more focused towards food and fuel, more protein based items. And similarly for betweenness nodes too. And this the trend that we saw in 2024 continues in 2025 as well. Okay, moving on to temporal network analysis. So from year 2023 to 2024, we saw 119 new edges, but we lost 372. And there were 98 edges that remained stable. So these were the edges that did not change and they remained constant throughout the graph. And this is the data for the year 2024 25. We can clearly see from this number right here that 2023's graph was way more concentrated, way more dense, and 2024 lost a lot of nodes. However, it did gain back some of those edges in the next year. Okay, so this is basically year-wise analysis, which Zaryab will get into in a while. Moving on to sensitivity. Okay, so basically we took two different types of sensitivity: the threshold and the number of cities. The threshold is basically a number which tells us that we will only consider an edge when it goes over a certain similarity threshold. We picked three different types of thresholds, and obviously the higher the threshold, the lower the number of nodes that will pass that threshold, so there will be less number of edges. And there's also another limiting factor to this thing, that we have to have the same edge in at least k number of cities. So in this example, we took k is equal to 3, and we checked on different values of tau, and we got these edge results. And you can clearly see, as tau increases, the number of edges decreases dramatically. And moving on to the k, the city threshold, as k increases, the edges also drop, which means that it is a very strong relation as we increase k and tau. So that's basically it from my side. And now Zaryab will move on to the insights of this project. Thank
Explain the main the insights from the network analysis in a more simpler way, overviewing all of it. So in 2023, inflation was mainly driven by everyday food and clothing items. So this shows that inflation was mostly concentrated in basic household consumption. In simple terms, people were mainly affected through food and clothing prices, moving together. But in 2024, we see a clear shift. So this basically drives more, this shift drives more towards energy and protein related items. So this means inflation was no longer just about basic food. It was now strongly, influenced by fuel and energy costs as well. So these items basically acted like the bridges in the network, meaning they affected many other prices indirectly in doing so. Okay, so then in 2025, the pattern shifts again. Now we see, a mix of fuel, vegetables, and cooking related items becoming, central items like petrol, uh, tomatoes, garlic, chicken, etc. So this shows that the inflation became more spread out and, unstable, affecting multiple categories at once. So across all these 3 years, one thing is clear, that inflation drives keep changing. Food items always remain important, but energy products become more and more influential over time. Also, the relationship between items are not stable. They keep shifting every year. They just are not stable. They just keep shifting every year. So overall, this network helps us to see that inflation is not controlled by one group of items. Instead, it moves through different categories of economy, usually which traditional analysis usually cannot easily show. Thank you.